First off, I want to thank all of you and Professor Wallace for taking time out of your busy day to be here. My name is Godfrey, and today I want to take you on a quick journey through the islands of the Bahamas. The beauty of the islands extends far beyond the extraordinary natural wonders. It's the smiles on the faces of the Bahamian people, the unique sounds of their rich culture, and the warm and inviting hospitality that they have to offer. The Bahamas are comprised of over 2,000 islands and cays that are stretched over 100,000 square miles of ocean. Positioned only 50 miles off the coast of Florida, it's so close to home, yet it feels like a paradise that's so far away. But before we travel to the Bahamas, we must first be prepared. Anytime you travel abroad, it's recommended that you receive your routine vaccinations. However, the CDC recommends that before traveling to the Bahamas, travelers should also receive hepatitis A and typhoid. Hepatitis A and typhoid are recommended due to the risk of disease that is recognized in the country. It is possible that the food or the water could be contaminated, therefore it's best that all travelers go ahead and take this preventative measure. Now that we have our vaccinations, we need our plane tickets, our bathing suits, our flip-flops, and one more thing. Can anybody guess what the one thing is that's missing?
Passports.
That's right, Allie. We need passports. To enter the Bahamas and to re-enter the United States, an up-to-date passport is required. Obtaining a passport is expensive, but it's fairly easy. Okay, passengers, fasten your seatbelts, because we now have everything we need to travel to our tropical paradise. Whether we're traveling today in January or we decide to wait until June, the weather is forecasted to be warm and sunny year-round. The average temperature ranges anywhere from 75 and 84 degrees Fahrenheit in both the summer and the winter. The flip side is that with all this heat, the islands need a way to cool off and maintain their lush vegetation. This means, unfortunately, that it does rain in paradise. Yes, I said it. It does rain, but only on occasions, and only for a short amount of time. Upon entering this warm and sunny environment, you'll be greeted by the Bahamian people who pride themselves on showing friendliness, hospitality, and an unmistakable positive energy. And since the official language is English, you'll have no problem communicating with the Bahamian people. But during your stay, you're likely to hear the Bahamian English, which is a mixture of Queen's diction, African influence, and island slang. The dialect and idioms were influenced by African slaves, English Puritans, and other settlers. But the common language isn't the only thing that they have in common with us. The government structure that they have there in the Bahamas is also very similar to the structure of government that we have here in the U.S. The Bahamas claim to be one of the most politically stable countries in the world. They're also a member of the Commonwealth of Nations, where all former British colonies recognize Queen Elizabeth II as head of state. Their constitution follows the Westminster model, which follows as Queen Elizabeth II, the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. They also implemented a parliament. The parliament is given the authority to make laws for peace, order, and good government. While the language and government are things that they have similar to us, the Bahamas are globally noted for their uniqueness. In the heart of Nassau, which is the capital and largest city in the Bahamas, you'll find the straw market. The straw market is an authentic representation of an industry that has been growing throughout the Bahamas since the early 1940s. Originally, the crafting skills were useful when the Bahamians led subsistence lifestyles, with baskets being used for fishing traps and carrying fruit. But following the end of World War II, many North Americans began visiting the Bahamas for their vacations. This is when the straw craft souvenirs really grew in popularity. Now you can find straw markets scattered throughout all of the islands in the Bahamas. However, the straw market that's found in downtown Nassau is truly at the center of it all. There you can find a variety of items ranging from handmade straw crafts, wood carvings, local delicacies, and name-brand goods at very inexpensive prices. Both locals and visitors enjoyed this bustle of activity amongst the hundreds of vendors who were set up down there and who were always willing to bargain with their buyers. The straw market gives the opportunity for the Bahamian people to not only display the products of their rich culture, but to also express themselves. Whether it's through colorful music, colorful art, lively music, or soulful dancing, self-expression is found at the core of every Bahamian. Music itself actually plays a big part in the Bahamian culture. While you're there, you'll most likely hear African rhythms, English folk songs, Caribbean classical, and the unique Bahamian gambé. Gambé is storytelling and expressive dancing performed to a fast-tempo beat on a goatskin drum. Another delicacy of the Bahamian culture is the uniquely flavored and spicy cuisine. They often prepare a variety of fresh seafood, including crawfish, which they call the rock lobster, land crabs, and other fish such as grouper, yellowtail, and red snapper. Also prepared by the Bahamian people is a local and tourist favorite only found in the Bahamas, known as conch. Conch is a firm, white, flavorful meat found at the very core of the large conch shell. It's commonly made into delicious soups and salads, but the most popular is the conch fritters. Conch fritters are deep fried and similar to our American hush puppy. Another specialty found in the Bahamas is the island beer known as Kalik. Kalik is proudly brewed right there in the Bahamas by local professionals, and it's more than just a beer to these Bahamian people. It's one of the large contributors that sponsors Junkanoo. Junkanoo is uniquely Bahamian and exists nowhere else in the world. It's an incredibly energetic and colorful parade made up of brightly costumed Bahamians, dancing to the sound of cowbells and whistles and drums, kazoos, all kinds of musical instruments. It's widely believed that it was created by John Canoe, an African tribal chief who demanded the right to celebrate with his people even after being sent to the West Indies as a slave. Celebrated since the 16th century, today Junkanoo has grown into an organized event with groups of up to 1,000 people competing for best costume, best banner, music, and best overall group presentation. Traditionally held on New Year's Day, Independence Day, and Boxing Day, parades are now also performed throughout the summer, especially at the Summer Annual Junkanoo Festival. There's also Junkanoo shows that are performed at hotels for their guests all throughout the year. The Valley Boys and the Saxon Superstars are two of the best musical groups who perform each year at the Junkanoo parades. As these two groups enter, beating ferociously on their gumbay drums, moments later, hundreds of people arrive. And not only with trumpets, tubas, and trombones, but with bicycle horns, foghorns, conch shells, kazoos, police whistles, and police bells. It's an overwhelming experience that many travelers won't want to miss out on. Next, I've got a short clip to show you the excitement that surrounds the Junkanoo parade. In the video, I hope that you can see that there are several. Almost everyone in the parade has some of these elaborate costumes. There's a float, and it seems that it just blends right in with everyone else's costumes, that they're so elaborate. And you can also hear the bells and the whistles and the trombones and all the different excitement that surrounds it. Doesn't that celebration and excitement make you want to experience the Bahamian culture firsthand? Well, one day I hope that all of you can. Before our journey comes to an end, let's recap. Today we've seen the not-so-unfamiliar government structure and language, but we've also explored the incredible uniqueness throughout the Bahamian cuisines, customs, people, places, and spectacular events. While some of these things are the Bahamas' main attractions, they only skim the surface of the many adventures, unique heritage, and so many beautiful naturals and the natural beauty of the country. Once again, I want to thank all of you for being here. And before we conclude, are there any questions? Okay, thank you very much.